Well, I think people should. First of all, there's nobody over here that's a squatter, which is you'll hear that phrase come up all the time. And there's nobody over here. Everybody that owns a house here is certainly not squatting. They're maybe living in a house that's a lot less. They got into a lot for a lot less than in the city, but they're not making any money on it. You can buy the worst looking shack on earth, and in the city, and make money on it just because of the land. But we don't own the land under us. We lease it. We only own the structure. We don't own the land. And because we don't own the land, we can't make. It's the land that goes up in price, not the house. That's why you get monster homes. They got these little tiny homes on a piece of land that's now worth way, way more than the home. So people buy them and knock them over and put up a big house, and they can make the land pay. You can't do that here because you don't own the land. And I think a little better understanding on how, on what people do go through to live here. It's not what I call a hardship, but it's certainly an inconvenience, and so it's not like it's a freebie. I mean, we have a very comfortable house, and we're happy with the way it turned out, and we did it the way we wanted to, and it's very energy. I think people here are very energy conscious, and I think we are for sure. We don't even have a furnace; we just have two fireplaces, and I think a lot of people live kind of a little more in scale here than they do in the city. But other than that, I think people are. I haven't really heard a lot of complaining about Islanders yet, but you definitely will if Ford decides he wants to focus on it, because they don't. They still feel that the island is just a bunch of given free property, and everybody's living for free, kind of. They're squatting on it at their expense, and it's not at their expense at all. It all goes. There's 500 people on the list, so there's some value that people see here, but I don't know if all those 500 understand what they're getting into either. Other than that, I mean, I don't really have too much choice or anymore, except to sell this. I wouldn't make enough money to buy very much in the city. I'd have to go to another. I have to move out of Toronto. But I don't intend to do that anyway. So I do worry about if anything happens when you get ill or whatever. We have a lot more people that are driving around now in those little scooter kind of things. For the people that you see them in the city too, but that are little electric scooters, things to get around on. And we have a lot more than I can remember. Where there are none here. Now I can think of 4 or 5 people that I know that have got them. They're not great in the winter, but they can at least get around the island in the summer, because there's no other way of getting around here except for riding a bike or walking. But maybe the city's getting more of them too. I don't know. I don't live there, so I don't see them. It's pretty progressive. The people are pretty progressive, which is, I guess, another way of saying left-leaning. They've supported the Jack Laytons and the David Millers and the progressive mayors and the progressive councils, and because they're the guys that see the benefit in keeping the people here are the stewards of a park, right? This is all parkland. The whole thing, the park, a couple of blocks down here, the community ends and it's all park, and there's nobody over here except for us. And my wife is very much involved now in trying to make it more attractive when you get off the ferry to come over here. More things like interpretive signing to tell people what's going on, what you're looking at. And there's a pretty rich history of Toronto here, and they're trying to maintain that. And she's been doing quite a bit about that. They had a waiting room that they've taken away, and it's a historical building, and they've taken it away and they're rebuilding it and they're going to put it back. I thought it might be this year, but probably by the spring they'll be putting it back in there, and they've been working on that with the city. So those kinds of things, the people here are very conscious of preserving the island sensibility, I guess, and a lot of that is represented in objects like the waiting shed that they're redoing, and then there was a landing shed that's over in front of the Wards Island Association building over there, and a beautiful big mosaic that they did, and it's just people just did it, you know, and it's kind of. It's nice to see that kind of contribution, and it's altruism, you know. I mean, they feel like they should be protecting this and maintaining it for future generations, which is not the way everybody in the city thinks.